Welcome back to my channel, friends. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am partnering with a company called Everlywell, and I'm going to be specifically talking about their heavy metal testing, although they do provide a wide variety of different tests. The heavy metal one is what I'm going to be focusing on for today's video. When I first started my YouTube channel, I had every intention of really sharing my medical journey, how and why I picked a holistic approach to treating my medical conditions, in addition to sharing my recipes, food, and all things keto. So in order to get back to a lot of the content that I really wanted to share on my channel, I wanted to bring today's video to you. In an effort to keep this video as short as I can, I'm only going to touch on a few things here, but I have an extensive blog post on all of this and everything that I'm doing, adding to my diet, supplements, herbs, that kind of thing. It's all going to be in my blog post, and if you check the description box below, you'll find that link. So while most of my medical conditions have dramatically improved strictly through diet, food, supplements, and herbs, a few months ago I did started to notice some things that were a bit off. And when you spend 2+ years of your life really dedicated to your health, you get really in tune with your body and the signals that it's giving you. So a few months ago, I started to notice that things were a little bit off. Around the same time, I got a really big influx of clients that either had Hashimotos disease, which is an autoimmune disease, low thyroid function, low T3 syndrome, and the longer that I worked with these clients, I started to notice a lot of things that were overlapping, not only with my clients themselves, but also with myself and things that I was beginning to experience. So if you have followed me on Instagram for really any amount of my medical journey the past 2+ years, you'll know that I am not a huge fan of conventional, traditional medicine or doctors. They have failed me over and over and over again. However, we have the insurance, we spend a lot of money on it, so when things do come up, I definitely will go to my doctors first. What tends to happen is I go to them, I get my blood work done or whatever testing I need done, and then I kind of treat it myself holistically through food, supplements, herbs, that kind of thing. So a few months ago, when I started to notice that things were a little bit off, I went to my primary care doctor and I requested a full thyroid panel. The problem with traditional doctors, when you go and you feel like something is wrong with your thyroid, they only test for TSH, which is thyroid stimulating hormone. Unfortunately, this test does not give the most accurate picture of your thyroid health. There are a lot of other things that go into it, specifically T3, reverse T3, T4. So when I had requested my thyroid panel, my doctor flat out said no. She's like, no, there's no need. Your TSH is totally normal, and no, your thyroid's good. You're good to go. I knew better. I knew better. Again, when you spend 2+ years of your life really dedicated to your body, you know it. You know when something's off. So I knew something was off. I left the office, not really surprised at what she said because I kind of expected it. So I went out of pocket, out of the insurance, and I purchased my own full thyroid panel. And sure enough, my numbers were off. So there's a really big difference between traditional lab ranges and optimal functioning ranges for a wide variety of blood tests. My T3, as I suspected, was dirt low. I am at the absolute bottom of the range at 2.3. So I knew something was wrong. My reverse T3, I had it actually tested a while back, and that number is slowly creeping up, which it could mean many things. So while I know that I don't have Hashimotos, I don't have, that specific autoimmune disease, I know that my thyroid and my health aren't functioning as well as they could. It's almost like doctors want to wait until there's something like seriously, seriously wrong with you, where it's like life-threatening, that they will listen to you or even help you. And that's not good enough in my book. It's not acceptable. So, once I had those numbers and knew what I was working with, the next step was for me to figure out what kind of foods and supplements that I could bring into my routine to kind of get those numbers into a better optimal range. However, before I jumped into doing all of that, with thyroid, iodine and selenium are absolutely needed for thyroid function. So before I even jumped into, high doses of that or, anything like that, I wanted to get a baseline of those specific markers. So I ended up stumbling upon a company called Everlywell. And they have a wide variety of tests, but the one that I was specifically looking for was their heavy metal testing, because it had selenium and iodine. So I went ahead and I got my test online. It was extremely easy to do. You go in, you purchase whatever kit that you want.
And what I love about Everlywell is that it actually lets you be your own little health detective. Doctors will obviously diagnose and treat big medical conditions, but I'm a really firm believer in getting to the root cause of these conditions in the first place. Conventional doctors are definitely there to put a Band-Aid over the situation, but very rarely will you ever find a doctor that's willing to dig a little bit deeper and find out why and how this condition started in the first place. When you have these at-home test kits available to you, it could help put your medical puzzle together. Your body could have been telling you for years that something was wrong, but you just were missing the signals. It's a huge bonus that these Everlywell tests are actually physician-reviewed also. Another wonderful thing about this company is that they actually provide a really wide range of different tests. You can have a thyroid panel done, metabolism, testosterone, men's health, women's health, cholesterol, vitamin D, inflammatory markers, and of course, the heavy metal testing that I had done. So it's really so simple. All you have to do is go on the site and pick whatever test that you want. The testing kit will either be a urine sample or a blood sample, I believe. This particular heavy metal test was actually a urine sample. It tests for arsenic, mercury, cadmium, bromine, selenium, as well as your urinary creatinine.
To be honest, I've been kind of obsessed with these test kits just because I'm absolutely fascinated that you can figure out on your own what could be going on in your body.
Once you narrow down what testing kit you'd like to purchase, you just go ahead and add it to your cart and check out on the site. Your test kit will arrive within a few days. Everything is pretty self-explanatory. You'll just have this little insert with a little welcome message. Then just below that, you'll have another little leaflet that shows you which kit you purchased, and then everything that's included in your particular test kit. It will also have detailed instructions on how to prep, how to collect your sample, and then how to return your sample. You will also have a pretty detailed test requisition form that you will need to fill out. This is filled with a bunch of different questions. For this particular test, it asked for symptoms that you might be having, your menstrual cycle, body temperature, any medications or anything that you take on a daily basis, and then just the date and time that you've collected your samples. For this particular heavy metal test that I did, these are the collection samples where the specimens would go. And then you also have this little biohazard bag where you would put the specimens when you're done and ready to ship this back to Everlywell. And then one last step before you receive your results in about a week, you'll go back onto the Everlywell site and just put in the unique kit ID to register your kit. Really, so simple, so straightforward, so easy to do. And then once you get your test results back in about a week, you might just be one step closer to figuring out your medical puzzle. And at the very least, you'll have a baseline into these markers so you can figure out how and where you might be able to feel even better.
So my test results came back, and some things I'm a little bit surprised about and some things I'm not so surprised about.
Once I got the email that my results were in, I just went ahead and logged on to the Everlywell site, found the results, and the first thing that I see is that I scored a 7, which is technically in normal range for this particular test. And then you don't just get this one general number, you'll actually get readings on each of the heavy metal and minerals that they have tested for. So as you can see here, this is my arsenic. I am actually at the very, very top of the range. So you're probably thinking, how on earth are your arsenic levels so high? Think produce, meats, soil, air, beauty products, plastics, water. Heavy metals are everywhere. My bromine levels were actually very, very high as well, within normal range, but still quite high. This is actually an important one for me because bromines are actually endocrine disruptors.
It competes with the same receptors that are used in the thyroid gland to capture and utilize iodine.
In turn, it could actually be inhibiting thyroid hormone production, resulting in a low thyroid state. So my cadmium levels weren't as high as arsenic and bromine, but definitely in the top 3/4 of the range. It actually depletes selenium that's in the body because selenium is essential for cadmium removal. When selenium is depleted in the body, there's less of the enzyme which converts T4 to T3, resulting in a low T3, and eventually it could lead to hypothyroidism. So if you remember, the main things that I was looking for with this test in particular was my iodine and my selenium levels, but I ended up getting even more information that I could use to improve my thyroid function.
So now that I know these results, the end goal here is for me to bring down the heavy metal toxicity and bring up the things like selenium and iodine. I will strictly be doing this through food and some supplements. I have actually already started to incorporate some new things into my routine, and it's only been 2 or 3 weeks, and I can honestly say that I feel so much better. Again, I will have that link to the blog in the description box below.
Again, I'm not taking a really aggressive approach to treating my low T3. I just want to get into optimal, levels. I don't have an autoimmune disease, so I don't need to be aggressive. I don't need to be on, thyroid replacement therapy or anything like that. I want to feel better, and I know that I can. And with the help of the Everlywell test, now I know kind of where I can start. If you feel in the bottom of your heart that something is not right with your body, you go to your doctor and you ask them to help you, and they either refuse or they do some blood work and it comes back within normal range. Be an advocate for yourself. And if you know that there is room for improvement in some areas, whether it be with energy, fatigue, if you're experiencing some weird, symptoms like with your skin, digestive issues, hair loss, really anything where you don't feel like you're running at 100%, go to your doctor. And if they can't help you, then you can help yourself. You can do it. I have been doing it for 2+ years now. I want to send a special thank you to Everlywell for helping me along my little thyroid journey here. And if anybody is interested in this particular heavy metal testing or any of the other tests that Everlywell has to offer, I have went ahead and I included a link to their site in the description box below, and they have been so kind to offer my subscribers and people who are watching this video a special discount, so that code is also down below. Thanks again for joining me today. Until next time.